Hi everybody, my name is Morgan O'Neill from Working in the Schools WITS. We're going to be going through the Saturday Tutoring training right now for the fall of 2011. Thank you all for being here to watch this training presentation and be prepared to be wonderful volunteers with your students. So what is WITS? Our mission at WITS is to promote literacy and a love of learning among Chicago's youth by providing one-on-one tutoring and mentoring programs. That's what we strive to do through our portfolio of 5 programs. So Saturday Tutoring is one of those 5 programs. We have 2 other community programs, one for our early childhood students, which runs during the weekday mornings, and one called Classroom Assistance, where we place volunteers to help with a classroom teacher and support that classroom teacher through working with students in small groups or one-on-one. Last year at WITS, we served over 2,600 students in 24 schools thanks to 1,600 volunteers. So I share this with our volunteers to help illustrate the impact that our organization's having in Chicago, and also to just, share with volunteers that you guys are part of something that's bigger than just your specific program at your specific school. These are a couple of pictures from actually our Saturday Tutoring programs the past 2 years. The top picture is a photo of our students and volunteer at Lincoln Park Zoo. Throughout the year, we try to have at least one fun field trip for our students and volunteers to participate in together. So what is Saturday Tutoring? What it is a twice-monthly program where volunteers and students spend time together reading, working on literacy skills, and just developing a bond. Volunteers are matched with the same student for every session. So across those 10, 15 sessions, depending on your school, you'll be meeting with the same student every single time. So this allows our students and volunteers to develop a relationship, get to know each other, and really just have a really fun time in addition to a valuable learning experience. Our students are generally between 3rd and 5th grade. That's our target. However, we may have some students that are a bit younger or a bit older. You will know your student's name and grade before the first day. We also provide all the materials, the books, as well as a program coordinator who's on the WITS staff to ensure that your experience is not only rewarding for you as a volunteer, but impactful for your student as well. This year we're going to be partnering with 3 schools. Peabody Elementary and Walsh Elementary are schools that we have had Saturday Tutoring programs at in the past. Just to give you an idea of the demographics, the students you're going to be serving, as well as Drake Elementary, which is a new Saturday program for the WITS family this year. Our program has been such a huge success that this year we are venturing to partner with a 3rd school so that we're able to serve more students. So why is WITS important? A recent study showed that in middle-income neighborhoods, the ratio of books per child is about 13 to 1. In a corresponding low-income neighborhood, that ratio of books per child is about 1 age-appropriate book for every 300 students. So you can imagine that this is not a lot of opportunity for reading, opportunity for talking about the illustrations, for just FaceTime with books for students in lower income neighborhoods. So what we're doing at WITS is addressing this statistic head-on. We're providing volunteers as well as books, literacy materials for our students and our volunteers to be utilizing together. We also have a fantastic program evaluator on staff. What we do is we survey our teachers and our students both before the program begins as well as after the program ends. As you can see, students who participate in the WITS program are in the dark blue here. For example, 50% of the participating Saturday Tutoring students, their teachers felt that their focus while reading improved compared to only 29% of those not participating in WITS. Similarly, 77% of WITS students showed an increase in their reading expression compared to 69% of those not participating. So it's important, I think, that we share this information with you all because it demonstrates that our programs are having an impact, and the time that you're giving to WITS and to the students in our programs makes a difference. So let's shift gears now. We're going to talk a little bit about the materials that you have available to you at the Saturday Tutoring programs. We have a lot of things there. We have books, we have Time for Kids magazines, which are a great resource for students to learn more about current events. We have Sports Illustrated for Kids that we introduced last year, which the students seem to really love, as well as National Geographic magazines for kids that are really fun. Each student will also have probably 2 Flash Skills workbooks. That image is the far left image. They are small, colorful, and fun workbooks that allow the students to practice their phonics, do some reading comprehension passages, do some problem-solving questions to just mix up the session. The session itself will be mostly dictated by you and your students' interests. So maybe you have a child that's most interested in learning about animals and gravitates towards the National Geographic magazines. That's absolutely fine. Whatever your student prefers in terms of reading material is wonderful. This year we're also going to be encouraging more students bringing their actual homework to the Saturday tutoring session. This is not something we've done in the past. However, we feel that it's important and a valuable opportunity for our students to be receiving homework help from their volunteers. One of the new introductions that we're going to be making to the Saturday tutoring program this year is something that we're calling a WITS journal or an activity journal. This is something we're deciding to introduce because we want the sessions themselves to be more engaging. Each student is going to receive a journal. It's going to basically be a folder with some loose leaf paper and a bunch of things inside that we're actually going to talk more about on the first day of the session. Because I'm not able to show you a mock-up of what this looks like. It's a little bit difficult for me to explain, but the most important part of the WITS journals is going to be on the 3rd page. There's going to be a bunch of question prompts. Some of these question prompts, for example, let me give you an example, would be, how is the character in the story similar to you or somebody you know? This is a great question and something that can trigger a lot of thought and conversation based off of any book or any magazine that you and your child are reading. So you and your student can pick any question prompt before you read a story or an article, and then your student, after you finish, will have an opportunity to jot down maybe 2 or 3 sentences in their journal in response to this question as it relates to whatever text you and your student are reading. We feel that this is going to give our students an opportunity to express themselves more about in relation to the stories, as well as open up some dialogue for you and your students to have more conversations around the characters, the setting, and the story itself. So that 2 hours is going to look a little bit different for each volunteer and student pair. As I mentioned, the child and you, the volunteer, will dictate the flow of that 2 hours. However, we sort of offer a sample program structure to give you an idea about how a successful session might look. We're going to ask all of our volunteers and students to arrive by 9:50 a.m. on your designated Saturday tutoring dates. From 10 to 10:30, maybe you and your student would work on the Flash Skills workbooks, maybe pick a couple of reading comprehension passages to go through together. Then you may open up your reading journal, pick a prompt and a book to spend a half an hour discussing a book and how it relates to that question. We'll also be giving all of our students a snack, which will vary based off of the school. So at Peabody, we'll have the snack in the middle of the session. At Walsh, we sometimes do it after the session ends at noon. So your program coordinator will talk to you about that, and each school will be a little different. And then we welcome you and your student to choose what interests them most. Maybe they bring some homework at 11:15 for you guys to work on. Maybe you want to keep reading books. Maybe you want to try the Sports Illustrated for Kids. So it's really up to you based off of your students' specific interests. And then at noon, our kids and our volunteers will depart. So I want to talk with you all a little bit about student book levels. A book level is a measure from A to Z based off of a specific text difficulty. All of our books have a level on the back of it. So you'll see the sticker that you see on the screen in the lower right-hand corner with a letter at the bottom where it says reading level. A very easy book would be an A, and then it goes up the alphabet to Z, which would be considered the most challenging text. What we'll do is we'll ask our teachers for each student's book level or reading level in advance. So if we have that information, we will definitely share it with you. Likely the younger students may not have reading levels yet, but probably 3rd grade and up, those students will have reading levels. So if you have a 4th grader and you know that he is reading at a level O, you can probably assume that a level O book is probably going to be the most age-appropriate and level-appropriate book for that child. However, we at WITS say that these book levels, there's sort of a rule of thumb. It's not an exact science, so if your student is at a level O and grabs a level P, that book is also probably appropriate for them. What we say is 3 letters above or 3 letters below that child's designated reading level is probably best for them. However, you know, I feel very flexible about book levels, and if a student picks something that you know is way too easy for them, that's still a valuable reading opportunity for that child, because it's going to give them an opportunity to enhance their fluency skills, to practice something that they're good at, and also to show off for you. Children who read books that are way too easy for them are also building their confidence. So we have a few expectations that we'd like to share with our volunteers. Of course, the most important for me and the most relevant returning volunteers, you know this, is consistency. The students are meeting with the same person every week, so they become they become not only excited about the program, but excited to see you specifically. So we ask that if you want to do this program, that you're able to commit to every session, or at least 90% of the sessions. We are asking anybody who feels that they will miss more than 2 sessions, maybe would be better served signing up as a sub-volunteer, where we could maybe call on you if we know that somebody's going to be out of town and you could fill in for that individual. Of course, we know that things come up, people get sick, you go on vacation, so if that's the case, please just communicate with your program coordinator as soon as you know that something is going to be conflicting with a Saturday tutoring session. Some of our other expectations are just that you stay with the group, so if your student needs to leave the space for any reason, please just find your WITS staff person on site who will take that student where he or she needs to go. Please also do not contact your student outside of WITS, and whenever possible, avoid checking your phones. We want to make sure that when we're with the students, we're very present in the moment and focusing on them and their academic success. And also just have lots of fun. It's a really fun program. It's on Saturday, so it's designed to be not only academically stimulating, but also just really fun. Another more serious topic that we at WITS need to share with you is, of course, we're hopeful that these situations do not arise, but if you are ever suspicious of child abuse or neglect, this would include your child telling you that they are being hit or abused, you notice any unusual marks or indication of abuse, please just see your WITS staff person immediately. Even if you hear something and you're unsure, it makes you uncomfortable, our motto is it's better safe than sorry. If you're ever concerned, you're unsure whether this applies, and is it considered child abuse, please just ask your WITS coordinator. We're trained as mandated reporters, and we know the steps of the process to take in order to ensure the safety of the kids, which is, of course, the top priority. All right, we have a few more slides to get through. This is actually a really important slide, so listen up. These are our reading-related frequently asked questions. Something that is often asked to me is, should my student read to me or should I read to him or her? This is a really great question, and one that's sort of difficult to answer because the kids in our program are going to be a variety of different grades. But if I were answering this question to maybe a third grader and their volunteer, what I would say, and what I would say for most students, is the best combination is a combination of both. So students' reading, of course, is critical. It's critical to develop their fluency, their comprehension, their mastery of new vocabulary, because when students hit third grade, they're moving from learning to read to something vice versa, reading to learn. So once they hit third grade, they're not only reading just to know the words, but they're reading to understand the content of the story. So what we like to say at WITS is a combination of both is going to be most beneficial for your student. What I like to suggest is switching off pages with him or her. Having students listen to a fluent adult is going to be the way that they're going to develop fluency. So listening to you stop at periods and to change the intonation in your voice at question marks, this is going to help them develop a mastery of fluency, because the only way you really learn fluency as a child is by listening to expert readers. Number 2, my student's having a bad day today and I can't get him or her excited about reading. What should I do? This is a great question, and something that is taken really on a case-by-case basis. You know, if this happens to you, we all have bad days. If your student's not feeling great, maybe they didn't do well on a test, maybe they got in a fight with their mom, whatever it may be, feel free to take a few minutes to just chat with your student about their day. Maybe you can ask them what they're doing this weekend, ask them about their favorite sport, their favorite subject. You guys can just get talking, because in my experience, conversation unrelated to reading or the situation often can bring students out of a funk. However, if you feel like your student is really struggling, having a bad day, and you're not sure how to navigate that situation, that's why our WIT staff is always on site. So if you ever have any questions, please feel free to just ask, and we can have a conversation with your child or with you and your student together, whatever we feel is best in that situation. And lastly, how do I know what to focus on? This is where the activity journals are going to come in handy, because working with a student, it can be an overwhelming task. There's so much that they're learning in school. How do you as a volunteer know what you should be focusing on? These question prompts that we've created that are going to accompany pretty much any text or article you read are going to be excellent ways for you to focus your time and for you and your student to just have more conversations around the text themselves. Alright, and then some general frequently asked questions is, if you ever want to donate supplies or books to WITS, we welcome new and gently used books. We welcome supplies. I'd be more than happy to donate supplies to Mr. Flores, the principal of Peabody, Mr. Mohib, the principal of Walsh, or Miss Warner, the principal of Drake. They are all, very excited about these programs and grateful and would welcome any kind of donation you may have. If you would like to add to our actual book collection, we have an Amazon wish list. If you search for WITS, you'll notice that we have about 100 or so nonfiction and fiction books that we would love to add to our collection. All you have to do is purchase those books, and that is actually already connected to our office address, and they'll be sent directly to WITS. So we'd be more than happy to accept those donations. And number 2, we ask our volunteers not to give students gifts or candy. Of course, we want to, and we will, send our students home with books, little prizes throughout the year, but we want to make sure we're doing it equitably. So if you could avoid giving your individual student any kind of, gift, that would be great. And if you would ever like to become more involved with WITS, we have a really wonderful associates board. They actually take an active role in the planning of our Saturday tutoring program, and I'd be happy to connect you with the right people to get more involved. Our associates board also plans fundraising events for WITS and does a lot to get the WITS name out there. We also have other programs, community programs that I mentioned, so please feel free to reach out to me or visit the WITS website to learn more about them. Alright, we are actually done. So next steps for volunteering, which most of you have already done, is completing a volunteer application and a CPS background check. On the CPS background checks, for those of you who have not done it yet, you only need to fill in the last 4 digits of your Social Security on where it asks for the social, and you can please mail those to our office at 27 East Monroe, Suite 1400, to my attention, Morgan O'Neill. That would be amazing. We are asking new and returning volunteers to complete these 2 documents every year. Additionally, the one other step that we'd like for you to do is what I'm going to be doing in the next few days is sending out a reading strategies and child development handout. Based off of the research and the amazing staff we have, we've put together a one-pager that outlines some of the most basic, easy, and impactful strategies that you as volunteers can use to support the students that you're working with, and then start tutoring. So that's it. And you all have seen the individual program calendars for your specific schools, but just to reiterate, you know, recently there was the Chicago Teachers Union strike, and as a result of those contract negotiations, the CPS calendar has changed a bit to basically pick up the 7 days of lost instructional time. So with this calendar switch, we've had to change a couple of the Saturday tutoring sessions. So please review those updated calendars for the official and confirmed Saturday tutoring schedule for the 2012-2013 school year. And if you have any questions, my contact information is below right there. That's my email, my desk line. And in the next few days, soon, your specific program coordinators will be reaching out to you. So at Walsh, her name is Jenny. Jenny's going to be reaching out to you about that program. At Drake, Maddie will be reaching out to you, and I will be the person in touch with you if you are participating in the Peabody program. So we look forward to having you all. Thank you so much for listening to this training, and more to follow as our first days approach. Thank you.